Hi everyone, welcome to our daily blog for this week, and we continue with the book Candles in the Dark by Rowan Williams, and today's blog is entitled The Problem with Statues. I suppose when Rowan Williams wrote this he was thinking mainly about all the events that took place back last summer around that Black Lives Matter and the pulling down of the Edward Colston statue in Bristol that sent shockwaves around the world, quite literally, at the time. And he's talking about the power of statues, and also though that they are strange in that they're different to other pieces of art because they make a statement both about the person that the statue is about, but also about the society that built that statue at that point in time. Let's look at what that might mean a little bit further down the road. Today, of course, is St David's Day. And whenever I think of St David's Day, I think of St David's the place in Pembrokeshire, and I think of this wonderful cathedral called St David's. So St David's on St David's Day in Pembrokeshire. And behind it is this 14th century Bishop's Palace, now a ruin, but must have been so imposing in its day. These images try and tell us something. When we go inside the cathedral, there's this elaborate facade with the organ above, and you go through that arch into the chancel of the church, and then just to the right hand side of the arch, always with flowers in front of it, is the statue of St David, pictured here, with shepherd's crook in hand as a bishop, and with a wonderful bird on his shoulder. But I wonder what this all says to someone as they walk into this cathedral. Beauty, majesty, maybe with the organ above, power and dominance, but also beautiful music, to be fair. What we know about St David, however, is something quite different. Here's somebody dressed as St David 3 days ago and doing a reenactment. But if we follow the path of St David out to the coast, we come to a place called St Non's, which is right out on the actual hills overlooking the Pembrokeshire coastline. And this is where David was meant to be born, in a simple, humble little place with a little well, one of the most famous and most revered of the Welsh wells nearby. Simple. And there's one of the stories about St David which talks about how he actually didn't always allow the monks that came to him to join his little community in at first, because as we look at these pictures, which are so idyllic, he recognised that the way of a disciple was not necessarily an easy one. In fact, it was something that was going to call the very most out of each and every one of us. So this life of austerity and even asceticism, in other words, living simply and living in the open, was much more the St David that actually he was likely to be. But through this life of prayer and through this life of simplicity, he actually pointed people to God. So as we think about the whole business of statues, is it about the person that we're pulling down? Or is it about the views of the culture and the climate that actually made that statue and celebrated that statue in the first place? But also as we think about who we are as we emerge from lockdown, what sort of church do we want to be? Grand buildings, grand statues, simple, humble, but recognising that the way of discipleship is not an easy one. But I would like to leave you with St David's most famous quote and prayer to his fellow monks, but they almost could be the words of Jesus himself. Be joyful and keep the faith. Do those little things that you have seen and heard from me. As I say, for me, it always says it all, especially if they come from the voice and the person of Jesus himself. Have a good rest of the day. God bless on this St David's Day. Bye for now.